Hi.
Hi there.
Welcome to our latest food security news. Today we wanted to recognise that today, the 24th of January, is the International Day of Education. And as people who have worked in training and teaching roles for many, many years and volunteering overseas, education is really important for us. So it's something we certainly support. So what is the International Day of Education? It's a day that's been identified and recognised through the United Nations, and it's about recognising that education is a human right and that it offers a ladder out of poverty for a lot of people. It offers a path and future. So we think education is really important. But what we wanted to talk about in today's report is that often when people are thinking of education, they're thinking about formal schooling, college and university. And yes, all of those types of education are really important. But areas that we're really passionate about is vocational and trade training and areas. Yes. And it's sad because I don't think they're as highly regarded as a college or a university degree is. And yet, it's the vocational training and education that keeps our societies running smoothly. Things like our tradespeople to build things and fix things, our innovators to create things, and an area that we're really passionate about is our farmers and our food growers who grow all of our food. And it's really interesting because we're not seeing a lot of new generations coming into farming and food growing, and it's really interesting the statistics around the age of farmers, some of the farming communities around the world.
Yeah, so some of the stats are that the average age of farmers in Australia is actually 58 years of age, and 77% of our farmers are male on average, and they've had 37 years of experience in farming. And of course, more and more farmers, as they age, are going out of the industry altogether. So they take that knowledge with them. So it's a real problem, and that knowledge has to be passed on to the next generation. In the United Kingdom, the average age of a farmer is 59. In Kenya, it's actually 60, and in Japan, it's actually 67. Would you believe? So we're sort of getting quite late in years, aren't we? Once we get past 60, I mean, obviously we're not as physically fit. We can't do as much as what we used to do. And more importantly, all that education, all that knowledge about farming and feeding people is actually very, very quickly disappearing. So really, when this generation of experienced farmers retires, the question is who's going to carry on putting food on our tables? So young people, they're increasingly going to other fields other than farming. Technology-based industries are on the increase. And farming is not necessarily seen as a viable industry or as an industry that perhaps they'll have a career in. No. So that's a big issue. And all of us rely on farmers, and the question what we asked before is who's going to feed us and the future generations if we're not getting young farmers coming through.
And I suppose the other thing is farming requires a huge outlay, so it's hard for people to enter into farming because of it's all technology based and a huge outlay in equipment, so that's quite expensive as well. But you're right, who are the farmers of the future?
That's right, and one of the things we are seeing is a bit of a push at the moment to urban based farms, permaculture and things like that. So farming doesn't necessarily need to be high tech. A lot of these organic movements and permaculture movements, they're actually producing food in quite good quantities, and there's not a huge financial outlay to get into those sort of industries. So there are areas that we need to look at for younger people to get into smaller scale urban type farms.
Definitely. So we know that education is really important. We want more and more people trained up on food growing skills. We know that the farmers are ageing. So what are some of the solutions to this? And I suppose things that we've talked about is supporting locally based food producers.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Farmers markets.
Farmers markets, yes. Being involved with the community gardens and even your home garden. There's people now actually getting an income out of their backyard. Yeah. Producing salad greens, growing garlic. So it can be a way of actually having some form of income, and maybe an idea for the future, maybe working two jobs, maybe a farming-based job where you retain the knowledge and skills in producing food, but also working in another job where you can have those two incomes can form a decent weekly salary.
Yes.
That's another option for people to look at.
Yes, definitely. And I think what I'd like to see too is when I look at a lot of agriculture and horticulture training courses, not just in Australia, but others around the world. I look at things online. What I notice with a lot of the agriculture and horticultural training is a lot of it's about focused on using machinery, maintaining machinery, so big ticket items, your pest control, yes, that's really important, but there's not a lot on how to grow food and grow it well.
That's right, and that's where we're hoping with the academy here to actually putting a lot of online training for people to actually learn how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Things like how to prepare your beds, how to set up your garden, how to plant and maintain, how to use organic fertilizers, organic pest control, harvesting, seed collecting is the one that we've been doing quite a bit on. All of that, even how to grow basic infrastructure like a growing on house. So when I look at courses, a lot of them don't have that sort of information, which I think is really important. But we thought it would be good just to jump online, and we want to recognise that today is the International Day of Education. We're very passionate advocates and supporters of education, but particularly education that is focused on and supports food security. Locally grown, locally sourced is local food security.
That's right, and the take-home message today is that farmers are an ageing population and that we're losing them at a rapid rate, and we need to come up with strategies to get younger people involved in growing our food. It's as simple as that.
Yep, definitely. Really. Yeah, great. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you'd like to support our work, there's a link in the description below which will let you know how to do that. We'll also include some references to what we've covered today. But in the meantime, happy gardening.
Have a great day. See ya.
Bye.